Wednesday night, it's back. Man versus machine. Bradley and Wyatt bringing you the fantasy goodness you've been waiting all week for. Welcome to the fantasy playoffs, everybody. That's right. You're here because of us. Wyatt, pat yourself on the back. The viewers and listeners aren't watching us because we let them down. They're watching because we brought them to where they need to be. We led them to the watering hole. So now they need to drink, right?
Yeah. I hope it's been a good season for everybody out there. How was your season, Brad?
Yeah, the best ball, not so great.
So far.
Not so great. But the Dynasty, I think I mentioned this in last week. The Dynasty leagues are just sweltering now. A bunch of bye weeks. Almost all of them made the playoffs. I was going through a cold streak.
Yeah.
Jalen Reagor, ghost of Jalen Reagor, still rears its ugly head from time to time. But Henry Ruggs still hanging out in some taxi squads.
Yeah. Rough times.
Nevertheless, we're back. It took a couple years to build it back better. But the best ball teams, some win, some didn't win. We'll see how it goes. Wyatt, how are you doing?
Good. I won a lot of clutch matchups this weekend. So if I look at just my managed leagues, I'm in the playoffs and it's like 75% of them. If I start including like things like various best ball leagues and tournaments and stuff like that, that goes up actually pretty significantly for me. So that's good. I also took down the quick six super slam on fast draft on Sunday. So feeling pretty good.
Hold on, I got the sounder for you. I've got the sounder.
Okay, awesome. If anybody out there is not playing on fast draft yet, I highly recommend it. Yeah, still going. Yeah, fast draft is a really cool format to play. I really suggest it. These in-season games I think are especially fun and a cool little change up to DFS.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to draft it when you're in the right state. So I know Billy Muzio is working very hard to get it in Michigan. So shout out to Billy. Yes. Speaking of Billy, he and I are within like 6 spots of in the Scott Fish Bowl in the playoffs. So
that's the one. That's one of the sad ones for me this weekend. Is my Scott Fish Bowl run has come to an end. I had a terrible week and was like I think like 20 points out of the cut. Like it was not good.
Yikes! Yeah. That one I took like I don't know bizarre strategy. I was just like you know what I want all the pass catching running backs, bar none. So. Like the Devon Achans, the DeAndre Swifts, RJ Harveys, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are my guys. I was just like, this is the strategy. We're going to go for it. And here we are. But yeah, not great in the quarterback realm. Baker's been letting me down. Geno's been letting me down. Bryce Young, has had a couple decent games, but
yeah. I was without Drake May this week. I have Ladd McConkey. I have Breece Hall. I have Emeka Igbukwa. So like it was a confluence of like all the things happening like all at one time, and I couldn't pull it out.
Well, what we're gonna pull out for you guys today are some hot trending fact or fiction, because we're looking at these storylines. We're looking at things that have happened over the course of the year and narratives that have begun to percolate. We're not going to hit on all of the narratives in the NFL, but there are some very interesting things that are happening with regard to some players. And Wyatt and I are going to go back and forth with some statements about whether something is fact or fiction. And we haven't seen each other's. We haven't prepared that. This is gut reaction, but also in the moment research, just how we see this playing out. So I'll start us out. I'll give Wyatt my favorite one. This is a good one. Maybe you'll agree. Maybe you won't. The beard is already giving me, like the feelings of Bradley. Let's see it. Get to it. It's actually This first one is 2 players in one, or there's
Okay.
been some controversy about these players. One of them, player A, 78 receptions on the year, 114 targets, almost 1,200 receiving yards, a 23.7% target share, is wide receiver 9 in yards per route run. So that's player A.
Okay.
Player B, 57 receptions, 89 targets, 23% target share. So about the same. Wide receiver 5 in yards per route run. One of these wide receivers is George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
The other wide receiver is CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Fact or fiction? George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb are equal value in 2026 redraft if they remain on the Dallas Cowboys.
Fiction. They are not equal value. I will be ranking CeeDee Lamb confidently ahead of George Pickens. No slight to Pickens, but CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver 1 on that team. And there's like no doubt. You have zero doubts with CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens gave you the reminder of why you can have doubts for him in this past week. And everyone knows what I'm talking about. CeeDee Lamb goes out with concussion, and George Pickens looks like he forgot that he cares in this game. He wasn't motivated or something.
He does give up from time to time. It's just so bizarre because his dog rating is off the charts, but sometimes he's like the unleashed dog that just blindly like goes all over the place and does not have a purpose.
Yeah, it's odd because like I don't think he's someone who doesn't care. Like that's not what I want to say about him. Like I think he does care like all the time. I think that he is somebody who like gets in his own way in a way.
Yeah.
I think he's very passionate about football. I think it's obvious when you see him like block a defender off the sideline. You know what I mean? Like he does things like that. You're like, obviously this guy cares. It's just sometimes that happens. You're like, well, why, George Pickens? Like we know you. Like why are you doing this? I don't know. He's just like his own way. He's like self-destructive and sometimes.
He feels like, so I'm just trying to envision where, because Lamb's probably going in round 1, right? He's going to be a round 1 guy, but trying to envision where Pickens is going, I'm pegging Pickens as like probably a round 4 guy.
Because I think he's going to go much earlier.
So I would think so too. Like I when I initially posed this question in my head, I thought round 3, maybe early round 3, because T. Higgins, all that. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of running back hunger that pushes down Pickens. And like you talked about, some of the unreliability of Pickens might push him into round 4. So I don't know. You think he's a round 3 guy? Does he get to round 2?
So I actually talked about this with Dan Williamson on press coverage a couple weeks ago, that I expect CeeDee Lamb to be a first round pick, possibly like the second half of the first round, like back end of the first round. And I think George Pickens is going to be like start out as like a 2-3 turn pick. And I bet he climbs from there because especially in any basketball format, because people are going to know, like if you take CeeDee Lamb, the only way to also have George Pickens and like start stacking up Dallas is to then reach on Pickens in the second round. So I think as ADP will start to climb, it'll actually become like a mid-second round pick.
Interesting. Because he's balled out. He is the wide receiver 5 this year in fantasy points per game. He's running all of the routes. He's still putting up like a similar target share to what he was putting up in Pittsburgh. Like he was a 20 to 24% guy, like definitely not like alpha type like we had seen from Lamb or from like a Jamar Chase level, but not not like a Wan'Dale Robinson, like he's going to get his fair share of targets. But he's definitely hit on the deep passes. He's number 2 in air yards, but also number 2 in red zone targets.
Yeah.
This is a team, Dallas, that really struggled at the beginning of the year in terms of defense, and Lamb missed a couple games too. And Pickens balled out during that time. So Yeah, it might be one of those situations where I don't know, like it's the Cincinnati conundrum again, because you occasionally will see a T. Higgins pushed up really
Mm-hmm.
high. You know, interesting fiction, but I think it's closer to fact than I was even leading on there, Wyatt. So okay, hit me with your first fact or fiction.
So this rookie, from the moment he started, got on the field, week one, cucked the starter in front of him, and has really become, I think, one of the top players at his position. Fact or fiction? Harold Fannin Jr. is a top 5 tight end rest of the season and in 2026.
I had Fannin on my list too. This is great. This is great. Top 5 tight end. Yeah, let's go for it.
I agree. This is
Like,
fact to me.
yeah, this is fact. This is an easy fact. I think that Fannin is the target. Like, he's a buy high. Like, you do want to buy the hype. You want this type of player. You think about like Cleveland, they either get a quarterback upgrade or they don't. Either way,
he's the focus of the passing offense.
Exactly. And he's proven it throughout the year. It's not just like been a couple games here, a couple games there. He's consistently been involved in the offense and he's pushed aside David the Chief Njoku. So we'll see whether Njoku finds another landing spot. Njoku, maybe a buy low candidate in Dynasty. I think Njoku is a buy low.
Potentially. This last year of his contract. So he could be moving on. He's looked really banged up this year. That could just be injuries. I mean, he's a fantastic athlete. So like if he could bounce back next year and still look fine, like would not surprise me whatsoever. I do like straight up just like this year, like after McBride Bowers, I legitimately think there's a conversation that he's the Titan 3 rest of the season, like pretty easily kind of because with Shedeur Sanders, they're back to being like the fun bad team where they're able to drop back and pass a lot in games where they have to.
Shedeur can push the ball down the field.
Watching Shedeur now, it's like, why did we ever mess around with Gabriel Davis or
Dylan Gabriel?
Wow. Whew. All right. Late night. Okay.
How many margaritas have you had?
I know, right? Dylan Gabriel. Like, why did we ever mess around with that? With that project? But maybe like the word actually was like in training camp and stuff like that, and even the beginning of the season, why Dylan Gabriel was ahead of Shedeur Sanders, because Dylan Gabriel was already familiar with a lot of the things they were doing in the offensive game plan, a lot of stuff in the playbook. So he just picked it up much faster than Shedeur did. So I guess that's why it took him longer to get to Shedeur. But I mean, like Shedeur is playing himself into being their day one starter in 2026 at this point. I'm not saying that's a good decision or not at this time, but it is trending in that direction because the QB class is not great that's coming this year. So why not, at this point? Like if he continues to look like he did against Tennessee, like he still had made a few of the bonehead mistakes that Shedeur tends to do, but he also made a lot of really good throws and had a fantastic day. It helped Cleveland put up offense like they never have. And, so yeah. And him and Fannin are working together great.
Yeah. That's I just looked on the player profiler page for Shedeur Sanders. His best comparable player.
I don't know this one.
This is a good one. You'll never get it.
I guess I'll try and give one guess.
Think outside the box. That's my clue.
Outside the box. That makes me think like it's not a person who's like a real quarterback. Was it like Tim Tebow or something?
Bo Callahan.
Oh, what? All right. Yeah, I was never going to get
that. Dropping down in the draft for questionable reasons. I think that was
sure.
More like Shedeur. Man, this is. I was not expecting that when I pulled up because I was thinking more like Jordan Love.
I think he's kind of close to Geno, but with not quite a strong arm. Geno
Yeah.
Smith. He's like mobile enough that he can like threaten to run a little bit, but he's not really going to run a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to be really consistent. And we'll try to move around in the pocket, maybe a little bit too much, but we'll try to fire it down the field as much as he can.
I mean, let's like piggyback off of that one as like a 2B. Like, does Sanders have enough runway and opportunity to prove that he's going to be the quarterback? He could be the quarterback for the Browns in 2026, that they don't need to draft someone number 1 overall or
I
top
think
3 or whatever it is.
I think he has enough time to convince them. Because a game like he had against Tennessee is such a big game. It does a lot of the work for him. That makes up for fewer games. So if he can have, he doesn't even have to be that good rest of the season. If he's just like, a mid-level starter, like to end the season, like that's absolutely enough for the Browns to consider him their starter going into 2026. They might still draft somebody maybe late in a later round. Maybe not, because Dylan Gabriel's probably just going to be, his backup or whatever.
Deshaun Watson is
few years.
supposedly on the
Please never again. I don't like why. I hope that problem just disappears.
The $50 million problem. Just,
I mean, they're gonna have to eat it sooner or later. Just eat it and move on.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one, Wyatt. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fact or fiction? Ashton Genty won't be a top 5 running back in this class when it's all said and done.
Not top 5 in this class? Yeah, I'm going to say fiction without even starting to think of the other 5. Like 5 that would take. Okay, so Judkins, Henderson, him, Scatabo are all conversations, I'll say.
Hampton?
Oh, Hampton. I mean, it's a really good class.
And then you still have like guys like Manungai who could emerge as someone.
I just don't see it being
like all you need is one of those other someones to
Harvey,
emerge. RJ Harvey. Here's my concern, and like why I brought it up, Wyatt, is
it's closer than when I first started to answer it.
I'm sorry, what?
It's closer than when I first started to answer it. Now that we're thinking about it, I'll give you this.
So, this year is obviously not good. It's not turned out how we drafted for him, right?
Yeah.
Next year, I don't imagine is any different.
Right.
So we're talking multiple years now of like not good production. And then you're entering into like, okay, maybe he pops year 3, maybe he doesn't. Then the Raiders have to make a choice of like declining the 5th-year option after year 3, where it might be a coin flip by that point. And he'll like still bounce around because first round running backs have longevity. Like the sponsorship is still there from the NFL no matter what. But like the ceiling for 5 other running backs in this class based on what we've seen so far, I don't think it's far-fetched.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's all situational factors to believe that he won't be, in my opinion. Like, I think Ashton Genty's proven that he's a good running back. He may not be the all-world running back that many thought he could be when he was coming into the NFL, but even still, like, he's 16th in points per game among running backs. His opportunity share has been fantastic. He's getting used in the receiving game a lot. Horrible rushing efficiency because the offensive line is absolutely dreadful. But to your point, what's going to change there? The Raiders' offseason is going to be really interesting. Who's coaching there? Are they keeping Geno around? What do they do?
I don't think they keep Geno.
It will be really interesting. I kind of just believe like the Raiders will have no choice to, again, just give him a massive opportunity share. Yeah, I still think he's going to be top 5.
I think it's closer to fact than fiction.
When you first asked it, I was like, no way. Like, he is easily going to be in the top 5. And I'll give you that it is actually a conversation, because I think there's legit 4 people, at least, that you're having a real conversation about if he'll be better than them. It's just if you get another player in there. And for me, I can't get there.
And what's a struggle too is like some of my dynasty leagues, I had the 101, and like that was probably in one quarterback leagues the only way you were going to get Genty. Very rarely was he not taken number 1. And now it's like, well, maybe you should trade back in some of these scenarios. Like just because it's panning out or not panning out, like maybe trading down to 3 or 4 and gaining in first for next year.
This is something I think is like almost always true when an running back is like the set and forget 101 in Dynasty, even like superflex leagues and stuff, is that if you are a natural 101, meaning you were the worst team in your league and you got the 101 because of it, you probably shouldn't be drafting a running back, because your team is not ready to compete, and running backs have this the shortest shelf life on average in Dynasty. So when that's the case, I think you should basically like always trade down out of that spot if you can and get like a worthwhile deal, something worth the 101. I think you should when that happens. If you get the 101 through trade or something, and like even if you're just like a middle of the road team, like absolutely you take him, because he could help you get over the top. But yeah, when you earn that 101, you probably don't want to draft the running back.
No. All right, Wyatt, hit me with your fact or fiction.
Okay, this one is going to be looking forward to 2026 drafts solely, and we're trying to get in the minds of drafters.
Okay. Putting on my hat.
Fact or fiction. People will be afraid to draft CMC again because of him having too many touches this year, and he will again start out as a second-round pick and be a massive value.
So you're saying that he's going to get discounted again?
Yes. People are going to be like, yeah, but all those injured years, and then he just touched the ball so many times this year. He can't do it again.
I'm gonna say fiction.
You think people will draft him in the first round right away?
Here's my reasoning, and probably not the 103, but like we saw this happen with Saquon Barkley just this past year. Like that's the counterexample, is Barkley has a history of losing an entire season to an injury. He just came off massive amounts of touches, and now, we saw him as the pretty much consensus 101, 102. Like it depends on the draft. It was Chase, it was Barkley, but pretty much right there. So drafters were pretty confident that he was on a good offense. He was going to handle a lot of touches. He was very efficient, etc. San Francisco, good offense. Yes, injury history. I don't know. I'm thinking that there's still going to be, like, McCaffrey still carries that name value, and he's coming off of a quietly one of the best seasons for running back. So I don't think so. I think that there's still going to be the market is going to have confidence in Saquon and in McCaffrey in a similar way that they had confidence in Saquon.
The difference between them, for me, I think, and what I think people could believe, is that Saquon did not have quite the injury history that CMC did. You're right that he did. He did have some, but CMC like really stung people. He really, hurt some fantasy managers. Like,
well, that's partly Shanahan too, of Shanahan being all shady about that.
And then the other difference is that McCaffrey is not being that efficient, especially as a runner. He's not efficient as a runner at all. But like Saquon was like otherworldly efficient. Like he was so good that people were like, yeah, his efficiency can drop some, like it doesn't matter. He was doing so well, even if it dropped some, like he's fine. Like CMC, they might look at him like, I mean, look at these advanced metrics on his yards after contact. We're gonna hear about that this offseason, right? People are gonna be citing those kinds of things when it comes to CMC. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying I think this is the conversation that's going to happen going into the offseason, and I don't know if he'll actually start out with a first round ADP or not.
This is also, Wyatt, I think an opportunity to bring up the difference between like you and me and like high stakes drafters, like those who are living and breathing these types of things and having conversations
Sure.
on December 10th, 2025 about February, March drafts
Yeah.
versus your casual like toilet drafter who will be like, yes, I see McCaffrey. He had a great season last year. In their minds, nothing much will really change for San Francisco next year. They're going to have Brock Purdy. They're going to have Kittle. They're going to have Pearsall. They're going to have Jennings. They're going to have, they're going to bring back the band's getting back together again. And there's not really a pathway for much difference. So I think it's just the deference to what the general market is going to do. But I agree with you in like your more confined expert leagues and your higher stakes leagues. You're going. I do see a pathway where McCaffrey could be like Bo Callahan a little bit, like it moved down, like and talked out of as you move down the drafts. But I think that's probably going to be a niche conversation, like
Yeah.
for us. But I don't think that that's a bad thought. Like we should be concerned that McCaffrey has this many touches, and we've seen time and again, like Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
he's built different, but still this year is not what we've seen in the past based on like the vast the touches that he had. So you have Henry and Barkley, and you have like David Johnson. You have a history of these massive touch guys just next year just falling off. And that was the argument against Barkley this year, which is why in many places he wasn't the consensus 101. Oh, it's the Madden curse. Oh, he has so many touches, and so I see that playing out in reality as like a fantasy outcome, but I think the market will still hold on to its priors of like generally speaking that McCaffrey will be the play.
Okay.
All right, before we get into my next. Wow, I just fact or fiction.
Get it back. You're all right.
Okay, we'll bring it back. Before we get before the next fact or fiction. Let's hear a word from Better.
Let me ask you a question. If you had one player to pick, one player that's going to go nuclear this week, who would it be? And on Better Picks, that's all you need to do. They have a free player waiting for you in the app. You just log in and you see, okay, who is the free mystery box player that I get to ride this week? So download the Better app. Use promo code PlayerProfiler and watch your lineups cash. Maybe. Anyway, it's easy. It's free. And speaking of free, Better also gives you $10 of promotional funds, no deposits required, and Better has the highest multipliers in the game, 10,000x. It's crazy to even say it. It's wild. They let you win up to 1,000x on any 2 picks with their mystery multiplier. This big bang for your buck. It's simple. It's easy for beginners. So click the link in the description of this show. Better Picks. Sports just got better with code PlayerProfiler.
That's right. Use code PlayerProfiler on Better. But what was not better this year, Wyatt, was the Vikings season. It's just not gone how they expected. And for many of us who were like pound the table for JJ McCarthy, that's me. Yep. I'll take the L on JJ McCarthy. Have the Vikings found enough information on JJ McCarthy to decide we're going to move on? Fact or fiction? The Minnesota Vikings move on from JJ McCarthy after the season.
I lean towards fact, but I think it could change in just a couple games here. Because McCarthy looked better against the Commanders, and the Commanders are a great get right spot for a QB for sure. But I think that he kind of just like settled in a little bit, like in that
2
game.
Josh Oliver touchdowns. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's just like watching him in general. Like it just looked like he was a little bit more comfortable than he has been in the past, and that probably had to do with playing a bad defense. Like I think that almost similar to Shador, that like how he finishes up this season really kind of determines what the Vikings are going to do, because the draft does not look good. They're not going to have a good enough pick really for it to matter. Anyways, for me, it's like with the Vikings, it's really can they trade for Mac Jones or not, and what's it going to cost? Because I think that's Mac Jones to the Vikings. I think makes a ton of sense for them. But I do lean towards them moving on from McCarthy, because he has been absolutely dreadful. And even though he looks a little bit better this game, I don't have a lot of confidence in that continuing.
Yeah. If they move off of McCarthy, does he stay in Minnesota and compete for the job? Or does he get shipped off to a place like Arizona?
I don't think that any team will offer enough to the Vikings to trade away McCarthy. If they'd probably rather just keep him and develop him as a solid backup.
Okay. Yeah. Because at least they've seen some things from him.
Yeah, he's already learning the system. Like at that point, you might as well just hang on to him. Because again, I don't think any team's going to pay enough for the Vikings to entertain a trade. Why would you buy McCarthy at this point for anything of value?
Yeah. If you need a starter.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, because you're not buying him to be a starter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I really hope that JJ turns it around just for the take's sake.
Never wrong, just early.
Yes, I was just late to the game, but hopefully we'll get there. JJ McCarthy. Also wild stuff. University of Michigan related. I'm sure you
There's
saw
some wild stuff happening
there, and it's like getting updated by the minute sort of thing. So yeah, if you haven't heard, the University of Michigan has fired their head coach. I'm not going to go into the details of all of that, but just follow Schefter. He's keeping us updated as to what's going on, because Schefter went to Michigan. Half of his tweets are about Michigan or U of M alum. He has his sources and tweets all the time about JJ McCarthy too. So nevertheless, Wyatt, hit me with your next fact or fiction.
Yeah, we're going to get right into it with this one, because this is one of the biggest storylines of this season.
Oh, no.
Michael Wilson will score more fantasy points than Marvin Harrison Jr. in 2026. Fact or fiction?
Fiction, but I don't like it. Fiction.
That's where I landed. I think it's fiction, but like is it making me uncomfortable to think about?
Because the Cardinals could just get the right quarterback. They're moving on from Kyler. Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's definitely happening.
So
that's like a certainty at this point. It's basically just a matter of if they can trade him or not, or they have to cut him.
Right. Who would trade for Kyler?
I think he's going to get cut. I think no team is going to pony up to trade for him, and the Cardinals are going to end up having to cut him.
I could see, if they cut him, the Jets going after him. The Jets need a quarterback.
I mean, yeah, they'll just continue to be the Jets and make another mistake. I mean, if we're being real, Kyler does not look good, and he hasn't looked that good as a passer or an NFL player, really, in a bit here. Fantasy-wise, he's been fine for us more often than not. But actual NFL play, quarterback play in the NFL, it's not been good.
No.
And you have to craft your offense to specifically what he can do. And what he can do is not much as a passer.
Nope, because he can't see over his offensive lineman.
Nothing in the middle of the field, all on the outside.
And he's not a good deep ball passer either. Like,
yeah, pretty
that's
inaccurate.
why Marvin Harrison was like, I'll get you 20 points. I'll get you 0 points. It just depended if he was able to come down with it.
Yeah. You look like the only player that Kyler Murray had success that's like Marvin Harrison Jr., that type of wide receiver, was DeAndre Hopkins. And DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best wide receivers of all time. So it's like, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is not yet, for sure. So I think he had a lot more confidence when it came to throwing it deep and putting it in contested situations for DeAndre Hopkins. But, it's not the same with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's part of the reason why they didn't gel. He doesn't like doing that in general, throwing it into contested situations. It was only with DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, because Hopkins has like glue on his gloves.
Yeah. He's one of the better contested catchers. Boy, we're struggling tonight. Contested catch players.
We just can't podcast. We're all set. Set.
Anyways, I do think that Marvin Harrison Jr. will outscore Michael Wilson in 2026. I think there's a good chance that Jacoby Brissett goes into the season as their starter in 2026. Similar to all these QB conversations we've been having, is like, what are their options otherwise? Because the QB class doesn't look very good. Who's actually going to be a free agent? Who's available? I don't know. What's really available for them? What makes sense? And if that's the case, like, we're going to see a lot of the same thing. And when Marvin Harrison Jr. did come back, he was ahead of Michael Wilson, like, solidly. They just, whatever it is, it's just like the one player does that thing in their offense at one time, and if it's Harrison Jr. and he's healthy, then he's doing it. If he's not healthy, it's Michael Wilson, and that's a valuable position in the offense. That's what we know at this point.
Yeah, if Marvin Harrison is out, you fire up your Michael Wilson as a top 10 wide receiver on the week. Yeah, that's what he is. Like,
to win the super slam, the quick six super slam, I put Michael Wilson in my 2x multiplier on the winning lineup. This past weekend.
Oh, there it is. There it is. You love to see it. Okay. Here's fact or fiction. Lamar Jackson is broken and won't be fixed until 2026.
I wrote one down for him too. Yes. Fact. This is fact. Mine was fact or fiction. Lamar Jackson won't score for 20 fantasy points again the rest of the season.
There we go.
We're kind of saying the same thing here. Is that like it's not happening this year?
Yeah, he's done this year.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. Like, he just, I think the injury really took a toll on him for this season. He just does not have quite the same dynamicism. Boy, are we a rough
dynamism? There we go.
Yeah, gosh, I gotta stop.
I want what you're drinking there, Wyatt. Give it to me.
Yeah, I know. I have water in this cup. But yeah, it's not there right now for him. And when he isn't as dynamic of a runner, the defense can play him differently, and they can start clogging up the passing lanes more instead of being so concerned with him really taking off on them. So yeah, I'm with you here.
Okay. Before we get to your next fact or fiction, we do have a question in the chat. Hey, chat, shout out to you, Dave Young, 5445 from YouTube. Hey, guys, I'm worried about Jordan Love and Ty Warren. I can pick up Lamar Jackson.
Well, after the conversation we just had.
Dalton Kincaid, Isaiah Likely, Mike Gesicki, Theo Johnson. Thanks. Here's the thing. This actually ties into, fine, I will give you another one, Wyatt.
Let's do it.
Fact or fiction, Christian Watson is clearly the best wide receiver on the Packers and should be wide receiver 2 range next year.
I mean, he's a wide receiver 2 now. The only question is when Tucker Kraft comes back, how much they affect each other, but I don't think they should. Romeo Dobbs is a free agent. There's a chance he could walk. A team will pay for a wide receiver who can play X in the NFL, which he can. But that also might be why the Packers pay him. Even with that, though, I think you're kind of right. Mostly just because of how explosive he is. He's like an inconsistent wide receiver 2, but a wide receiver 2, I can see it.
That's why I'm fine with like Jordan Love moving forward. He wants to take his shots with Christian Watson. He's looking down the field, and Love has, when he's healthy, when both Watson and Love are healthy, it's just a beautiful like go ball, like just a floater right there. The back foot, it's something magical.
Yeah. And for this question, I think like definitely Jordan Love or Lamar Jackson rest of the season. We kind of just touched on that with our hate on Lamar Jackson. That we're not pumped about starting Lamar rest of the season.
Right.
Jordan Love. It's unfortunate the Packers love to run the ball, maybe a little bit too much, but I would definitely trust Jordan Love over Lamar Jackson this time. And for tight end, I'm staying with Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
I talked about that on this episode, this week's episode of press coverage a little bit, that because now it's looking like it's going to be Phillip Rivers starting for them.
Noodle arm Rivers.
My point was like, Jonathan Taylor's like a low end RB2 now, because I don't know what kind of efficiency you can ask from him and how many times he'll be in scoring position. And I don't want to play any pass catchers except Tyler Warren, because I bet everything's going to be like within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage with Phillip Rivers, because we don't know where his arm is at. And if that's the case, like that's going to be a lot of Tyler Warren. And that's something you can easily draw up in the passing game, is like screens and manufactured stuff to Tyler Warren.
All right. Counterpoint to the Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor. Do not fade Jonathan Taylor.
I'm not saying fade him. I'm just saying adjust your
He's a wide receiver 2 or running back 2. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. This was Jonathan Taylor.
Factor fiction.
Yes, here we go. Factor fiction. Jonathan Taylor, RB2. No, that is fiction. He's no worries. Hakuna Matata.
You think he's top 12 rest of the season?
Because I pulled it up. There is a 4-game overlap of Phillip Rivers, Jonathan Taylor.
From 2021?
From 2020.
2020. 5 years ago.
Look, I pulled the stats.
They mean nothing. They're from 5 years ago. Phillip Rivers is 5 years older. He's 44 years old.
Jonathan Taylor, 20 for 150 and 2 touchdowns, 16 for 83 and a touchdown, 18 for 74 and 2 touchdowns, 30 for 253.
Is this rookie year, JT?
This is rookie year, JT.
Yeah, get out of here with this. This means nothing to me.
30 for 253 and 2 touchdowns. Yes, Jonathan Taylor coming through, baby.
All right. Quick fun bet. Jonathan Taylor, during just the playoff weeks, top 12 or not, loser has to give $5 to the other person's favorite charity.
Sure.
Boom. Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. Wyatt will hold me accountable to that. All right. Whew, that was a lot of fun. Wyatt, hit me with one.
All right. I'm gonna hit you with 2 because you just did 2 in a row, and I think that's our questions. But
I think this is it.
Yeah. Okay. Factor fiction. Justin Jefferson should be benched for the rest of the season on your fantasy lineups.
Oh, who did they play?
I didn't even look at it. That's how much like how I feel about this is like schedule is relevant.
Okay, no, you got to play Jefferson. He gets Dallas in a dome at Dallas.
They just had Washington.
I don't care. You gotta.
He had 2 catches against Washington.
You're playing him against the Giants, and you're playing him at home against Detroit. You're playing, I
don't know if you are.
You're playing Jefferson. I do think you play Jefferson.
We were just talking about whether McCarthy is even going to be their QB anymore.
I know, but we talk about like get right games for McCarthy.
He did have a get right game, and Justin Jefferson did nothing.
Look, he's been the wide receiver 95 and wide receiver 81 the last 2 weeks. I get it. But these are just so juicy of matchups, Wyatt. I can't not. And you've got the matchups, 2 dome games. Vikings.
I think I'm benching him.
I'm not.
If I have a playoff team, I certainly didn't get there because of Justin Jefferson. I mean,
that's probably true.
I probably have a team where I'm like comfortable sitting Justin Jefferson if I'm in the playoffs right now. I've probably been benching him. I'm saying I probably have because I don't have Justin Jefferson on any teams, any of my managed leagues. I'm actually pretty pumped about it.
This is fun. This is a lot of fun. Let's take a look at where the consensus has Jefferson this week. Because I haven't done the rankings yet. I usually don't do them until Thursday night or like start to. Justin Jefferson right now. Okay. We'll play this or that, I suppose. Chris Olave or Justin Jefferson?
Olave.
Terry McLaurin or Justin Jefferson?
McLaurin.
I would still go Jefferson over McLaurin, but I would go Olave over Jefferson. Wandell Robinson.
I trust Mariota a lot more than I do McCarthy.
Mariota. That was a funny bit too. Jefferson or Robinson? Wandell.
Wandell, so easy.
Devonta Smith or Justin Jefferson?
That one's actually tough because Devonta Smith's been really bad too. I think you should be benching Devonta Smith. Like, I don't know if this means anything to me.
Okay, Justin Jefferson or Ladd McConkey?
Ladd.
Oh, interesting.
That one is tough though because of how bad the Chargers offense looks right now.
McConkey is
no offensive
bad.
line. It's because the offensive line's so bad, but like at least I believe in the QB, and and
his broken hand.
Yeah, it's non-throwing hand.
Oh, I'm kind of breaking my hand. Yeah, I would start Christian Watson over Justin Jefferson, even though it's at Denver.
You say that like it's a question. Of course you would. Of course anyone should.
Even though it's at Denver.
Here, I'll give you a real one. Okay.
Okay, fine. Luther Burden. Luther Burden or Justin Jefferson.
That's where I was getting down to. Burden.
You think Luther Burden? Wow. Okay.
That's how bad I feel about Justin Jefferson and JJ McCarthy.
We didn't talk about him yet. He was on my honorable mentions for us, but Brian Thomas.
Oh, that's my next one. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
Fact or fiction? Brian Thomas Jr. is traded this offseason.
Fiction.
He was apparently getting put on the block a little bit during this season.
Yeah. Did they sign Myers to an extension?
I don't believe they signed him at all. Did anything?
He doesn't have. He's a free agent after this. Yes.
I'm double checking to be sure because he wanted a new contract from Vegas.
Right.
That's why I couldn't remember if that was because his contract was going to be up or just because he wanted to be paid more. He is a free agent after this year.
So that's why I'm going to say no. I'm going to say fiction. Okay. Yeah. Jacoby Myers is for the playoff ride. And then they might. Do you think they'll get some draft pick compensation later if he leaves in free agency?
Eventually, but like Jacoby Myers, if he leaves via free agency, he would definitely warrant a comp pick. I do think this is fiction. Not because of Myers, but because this is just too talented of a player to let go. Like it would have to be a toxic situation for him for them to want to move on from Brian Thomas Jr. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think that
if it was toxic, they would have actually come out and the Oregon.
I think
in those situations,
they
let them know hey, they let stories leak. A lot of it seems like more internal
about it. Yeah. I think it was a combination of Liam Cohen's offense maybe wasn't the best fit for Brian Thomas Jr. right away and what they were trying to do with him. Looks like right now they're actually kind of just sticking him back out at X all the game, which is probably just better for him in this offense and letting Jacoby Myers do the stuff in the middle of the field. So I think that's good. I think also he was dealing with a little bit of injury that might have been contributing to things, and I do think he's getting a little bit back on the same page. I am worried that we never get the same Brian Thomas Jr. back again.
Yeah.
In especially in this offense. But I do think he's going to be on the team. I just don't know like what we can really expect from him at this point.
Yeah, he's going to be an interesting like best ball pick because he could be straight zeros some weeks. And just like non-contributor, like an absolute dud. Yeah, like in best ball, I think wherever Jacoby Myers lands, like Myers should be over Brian Thomas.
Probably, yeah. At this time, it's hard to argue against that.
All right. We've got a question in the chat here. Josh Jacobs did not practice today. Would a Reed drop to pick up Emmanuel Wilson be a smart move? Puka, Tet, Higgins, Wilson. Last time Josh did not practice Wednesday, he missed the game. I mean, I'm assuming this is Jaden Reed, and Jaden Reed, he still needs some ramp up. And even when he's ramped up, he's not more than about a 50% snap share player anyways. So yeah, pick up Wilson and just like hold on, because your league probably won't bite too hard on Jaden Reed anyways. So even if you find out later, oh yeah, I can drop Emmanuel Wilson, Reed may still be available for you to pick up.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. Emmanuel Wilson's proven that he's a handcuff running back, a good one that we know if anything happened to Jacobs, we can start Wilson with confidence and expect a lot of fantasy points. And you're not starting Reed on this team, so you have no problem dropping him. You want to streamline your fantasy playoff rosters. So I would much rather have Emmanuel Wilson where even if he's a zero most weeks, there is a week where he could score me 20. Whereas like Reed, he's just not even touching your lineup while he's healthy. Even, an injury happens and you're not even getting that big of an upgrade. Like if you lose Tet McMillan, you're not pumped about putting Reed into your lineup, because of that. So, yeah.
You're praying for a spike week.
You can find Reed's production on the waiver wire.
Yeah. Last question for the night. Start Baker or Caleb Williams. For those just tuning in, Baker Mayfield gets Atlanta tomorrow. Caleb Williams at home against Cleveland.
Yeah, this is actually kind of tough. Baker's been really bad, but he has the good matchup or better matchup.
And Mike Evans is expected to come back for this game.
Caleb hasn't necessarily been good lately, but he's been good enough. But he has a bad matchup this week against the Browns, who are probably going to sack him quite often because Myles Garrett's trying to get that sack record.
But the Tennessee did score 31 against him, so.
Yeah, but that was a little bit fluky, in my opinion. You look at what they're like. It was basically because Tony Pollard managed to hit 2 long touchdown runs.
Yeah, he did.
Where did that come from? And like the Browns have been one of the top running defenses in the NFL the entire season. All of a sudden, Tony Pollard rips you apart. Like that was a flash in the pan.
My 10th place best ball teams are writhing in pain.
Yeah, but I'd start Baker in the better matchup, personally.
Yeah, let's go Baker. And Burden or Reed rest of season. I'd go Luther Burden.
Same. Pretty easy. He's Chicago's number 1 wide receiver right now.
Yeah. Roma Dunze dealing with injury, also not playing well. So not playing at all.
Yeah.
All right, Wyatt, we did it. High five virtually. We got through whatever we were going through during this episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Crush your fantasy playoffs. On behalf of Wyatt, I'm Bradley. Hit the smash the subscribe button, hit the like button. Until next time, we'll see you in the fantasy football streets, everybody.